live from the Bronx season 3. We are still the podcast that celebrates Bronx creatives and change makers, and I'm your boy KB.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Jay, and y'all already know what to do. Make sure when you hear this episode, you tell a friend to check us out.
And today, we are sitting with content creator from the Boogie Down, born and raised in the Bronx, currently in Philly. He has worked with such brands as Foot Locker, Nike, Maybelline, L'Oreal, Fenty Beauty, and more. Please give it up for the homie Ashley Hall in the building, y'all. We see you. We see that year. How you feeling today, Ashley?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
I'm feeling great. It's a beautiful day. The sun is out. It's a little cold, but the sun is out. I hit the gym this morning. I'm feeling good. Jay, how you feeling?
Yo, I feel good too. I'm excited about this episode. I'm excited to be back in this podcast space. I got my coffee. You know what I'm saying? You know, I always got to start my day with that. So I'm ready, feel energized, and let's jump into it. So Ashley, we love to give our audience a little bit of an understanding of who it is that we are interviewing, their background, where they come from, etc. So this first question that we're going to ask you is, who are you and how do you identify?
Oh, that's a good question. Partly because I feel like when people think like, who are you, they automatically go to like their work and what it is that they do. But for me, it's like, I'm a daughter, I'm an aunt, I'm a friend, I'm a cousin, those kinds of things as well. But I'm a full-time content creator as well. I've always been a creative. I grew up drawing, painting, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's actually funny, like a quick tidbit is that like some of the artwork that will actually be hung in my room are pieces that I've done. So like, little things like that. But in terms of like how I identify as well, like, I guess like, because everything is so, I don't want to say like touch and go now, but it's just like when people say, how do you identify? I guess like for the most part, the first thing that pops in my head is like my pronouns for the most part. So it's like, she, her, hers, all of those kinds of things. But yeah, like I said, full-time creator, creative. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that. So you say you used to paint. Do you still paint?
I don't do it as much unless I go to like a sip and paint for the most part. And even then it's mad funny, but can I cuss?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay. I be thinking ass like when it comes to like painting and stuff like that. I went to a paint and sip, I want to say last year, and I'm sitting there, whatever. And my friend is like, wait a minute, who the fuck comes to paint and sip to actually seriously paint? I'm like, bro, like this is my thing. Like, I love art. I've always loved art. My mom was probably like one of the biggest supporters when it came to me doing art. So it's like anytime I needed like a new pencil, marker, gel pen, crayon, whatever there was, for me to be able to get something done, my mom was like, listen, I'll buy it. You just got to tell me what it is and where I could get it from situation. So I don't paint as much, but it's like, it's one of those things. Like, I know that if I still was to like sit and try to do it, I know that I can do it. To me, like drawing, painting, those kinds of things, it's almost like, how people say like it's like riding a bike. It's like the same thing to me, because I feel like it comes so natural. So, but I also think like I don't normally put like brush to paper anymore, but it's like I wear makeup, so it's like it's still a form of me painting or like that kind of like expression.
Can I ask you a question of just hearing you talk about your love for art, right? And when I say
Mhm.
art, I'm like using it as an umbrella term because you're a
Yeah.
content creator, fashion, makeup, visual artist, right? All of those things combined. When did you first start to identify as an artist?
Oh, it had to be like, what is that, like elementary school? Like even before then, which is funny. So like I said, some of the art that I'll hang in my room, are pieces that I've done. I have a finger painting from when I was like 2 or 3 that my mom had framed purposely. And I did, it was like a finger painting. I did it like, preschool or whatever it was. And my mom originally had it hanging on the refrigerator. And somebody was coming in to do work in the apartment and was like, where did you get that from? And my mom is like, my 3-year-old did it, like, just regular. And he's like, honestly, he said, that looks really good. Like, it looks really good. And my mom is like, what do you see that I don't? because my mom, she's never been like a creative in that sense of it. But it's like we all like have like our things that we like. Like for her, it's like home decor, and like she likes things that look good in that sense. But it's like for me, it's like more so like canvas, like what goes on paper. How can I make this look like this? Or how can I take, construction paper and make it look like, whatever it is. But the guy came in and he was like, honestly, this looks really good. Like he said, if you would have told me that a 3 year old, like if you didn't tell me that a 3 year old did this, I really would not have known. I really would have thought it's somebody that has studied art. So like for me, I feel like I've always just gravitated towards like painting, drawing, like because for me those are, I feel like, your first forms of like expression, especially like in school, like as a kid, you go draw, you go color, little things like that. So I would definitely say it had to stem at like a young age. Like that was, I was 3 years old doing that. But also like I loved coloring, I loved drawing. Like I used to do like little arts and crafts projects with my dad, like little things like that growing up. So I feel like it's always been within me, and now it's just like a different level, or like a different version of like, creative or creating.
That's actually a really good segue because we actually wanted to talk about growing up and your childhood and things like that. And to kind of bring it back to the paint and sip really quick, I do hate people like you who go to paint and sips who can actually paint. Like I don't enjoy it. So
Nah, it's
But you
funny. Like the one, I'm sorry, the one we did last year. My friend who put it together, he's like a really big R&B lover. So the paint project was, I think, Mary J. Blige album cover. They had it figured out, simple, blah 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 blah, whatever. They were having a contest on whoever's painting did the best. I think won like $100. I won. But because it was my friend's event, he was like, "You don't need it." I said, "Are you kidding me right now?" He's like, "Nah, bro." He said, "It's gonna look biased if I give it to you, but I legit won." Like, so I'm playing
wow,
against him. So I'm gonna send him this clip. So make sure y'all keep this clip in here because I really want him
facts.
got
to
it.
send it to me
Yo,
down.
we will pull it out and send it your way. We'll check
We'll
this
definitely
clip
send you
out.
this. So you talked about as a 3 year old prodigy making things that you probably could have sold as an artist. So
Right.
so tell us about your, I guess, growing up, right? What was it like growing up in the Bronx? Where in the Bronx did you grow up? And tell us a little bit about that.
So, growing up in the Bronx, it's like I feel like in a sense it's hard to say, like pinpoint exactly, because I feel like it's many different ways that could really go. But like I essentially grew up in a two-parent household. But for me, after, I want to say maybe after I turned like 7 or 10, I can't, give you like that timeline exactly. My relationship with my dad got really rough. So like I love my dad, and I'm thankful for the times that I did have. My father's no longer here, but like my relationship with him got really rough. So it was like for me, I'm naturally sensitive, but it's like because of who my parents are, like, and growing up in the Bronx, I was gonna have tough skin anyway. So for me, my dad, his main focus was like tough love, because he wanted to make sure that it was like before I stepped into the world, I was going to be prepared for whatever's going to be thrown at me. When in all actuality, I should have gotten the softness at home because the world was going to make me rough, or like, give me that anyway. But for the most part, like I said, I grew up in a two-parent household. I originally grew up, well, from like the first 2.5, 3 years of life, I lived on like 165 and Sheridan, so which is not too far from like the Andrew Freeman home, which is like a I guess like a Bronx landmark, you could say.
Shout out to
Um,
Andrew Freeman home.
gang gang. So like I originally grew up there, and then I relocated to closer to like the Yankee Stadium area. I won't give like direct specifics because I still do have ties to that area, but closer to the Yankee Stadium area and stuff like that. I went to school in the Bronx. Like preschool was like in like a community room, and like the building, the complex behind where I live. Um, and then from there, I went to Catholic school in the Bronx, St. Angela, which is still there. And from there, I went to school in like Washington Heights and stuff like that, but still, directly related, or close to the Bronx in that aspect of it. But like, I feel like growing up in the Bronx, people have like this stigma of like of Bronx people. and where we come from, and we talked about it, but like there's a lot of like history that's rooted in like racism and things like that when it comes to the Bronx and how people view it. But it's like people that come from the Bronx, it's like we're multifaceted, we're creative, we're so many other things that people unfortunately don't take the time out to really like sit and see, or like really sit and understand. But like I said, like I grew up, I have tough skin, like very tough skin. I had my first fight out of like high school, like in the Bronx and little things like that. So but yeah, like pretty solid childhood, I would say.
Yo, thanks so much for sharing all of that. And I want to take a second to connect two things. One, your childhood, but two, also the art, right?
Right.
What influence did your neighborhood growing up have on you in becoming an artist?
I don't know if I would say like my neighborhood per se, but it's just like I feel like it's more so the people that you encounter from like your neighborhood, or like the areas and stuff like that. So I will say like definitely growing up in the Bronx has like experienced the way I see clothes, or like the way I dress and that aspect of it. But if I was to think like my art, I don't want to say I use like drawing or like painting to escape, but essentially that's what it is for me. It's an escape. It's like I could walk out of, my childhood building, and I could show you where like, I've lost like childhood friends, or like I could show you, drug areas and like little things like that. So it's like art, I feel like was essentially like a way to like kind of block that out.
Yo, that's real. Thanks for sharing, Kev. I'm gonna pass it to you in a sec. But what you're making me think about too, getting a little deep here too, is like sometimes when we're in the situations we're in, right? Like whatever that situation may be, but if we're feeling down and we're feeling like, damn, like there's so much negativity, we tend to dream a lot, right? We tend to
Mhm.
think about like what would it be like if I could be in X space where this stuff is no longer, all the negativity is no longer a part of it, and we are
Right.
literally drawn that out, right, like visually in our minds. And so I think the beautiful thing about artists, not just again visual artists, but anybody in whatever genre of art you're in, is the ability to take those things and bring it to life. And
Right.
I always heard from one of my OGs, he's a retired principal. He would always say to me, Jay, you're an artist. Jay, you're an artist, right? This is like as of maybe the last 3 years. Every time I saw him, Jay, you're an artist. You're an artist. You're an artist. I'm like, why does he? Not that I know I'm an artist or creative, right? Like I know that, but I was trying to pinpoint why he was saying that, because he doesn't know I have a podcast. He doesn't really know the stuff that I do. I'm like, why? Why is
Like
he?
that.
Yeah. So I was sitting deep thought. Then I started to think about the way that I would put events together for the initiative I was working with, and the way in which I would bring people together, and just the way I would dress. And he literally OG, right? Sometimes I throw on some shoes with with no show socks on, so my ankles are showing, right, or something in the summertime. Yo, my man popped out with them joints. I'm talking, he like 65, 70, probably a little older, popped out with the same ankles out. You feel me? And so I started to think deeply about this, and I'm like, damn, so art comes in so many different forms, and we don't even realize it, and we don't even
Mhm.
realize the influence and impact sometimes that we have on others who are watching. So that's what you
Yeah.
got me thinking about, as I'm hearing you say like the people and the way
Mhm.
that their styles, or the way that their art influenced you. So shout out to the OG, and then thank you for sharing that beautiful story and painting that picture for us.
So dope. So fashion. That's actually where I wanted to go next. So So a lot of times when people think about the Bronx, they don't necessarily think about fashion. I want to say that that's like changing in the last couple years with a lot of like brands that are coming out of the Bronx and stuff like that. But in general, when people think of New York City, they don't think of the Bronx as like a fashionable place. So can you talk about, I guess, any connection you had to fashion as a child, like, or is that something that happened later? But what was it like growing up? Like, did you get fashionable? Were you into the kicks? Were you into?
So it's funny because like my mom wasn't into like I have older parents in a sense. So like when I had friends that was wearing like Pepe jeans and like Jabot and like little things like that, my mom was like, I'm not spending money on that. It's clipped. Gap. Macy's, like places like that. My mom was like, I'll buy stuff out of there, Lord and Taylor, whatever. But she's like, all of that other stuff, I'm not buying. And I'm like, fuck, like, how am I gonna get around this? So like that was like probably like I don't want to say like my first like roadblock when it came to fashion, but it was like, all right, I had to figure out how to make it work with what I had. So like I wore like Tommy Hilfiger. I wore a lot of things from Gap. I'm trying to think who else like I wore like growing up. Cause even then, I don't think I really wore baby fat like that, none of that kind of stuff. Cause my mother was like, I'm just not. I'm just not.
Yo,
Um,
you remember the Fat Farm sneakers with the big ass laces? You ever
yes,
remember them,
and yeah,
Georgia? When you said baby fat, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
yeah. Like my mom was like, she just wasn't buying that kind of stuff. So like I said, like I wore a lot of stuff from like Macy's, Gap, Tommy Hilfiger, like little things like that. And sneakers, like as a kid, like even as like a baby, like I used to go sneaker shopping with my dad, and for whatever reason, Reebok Classics used to be my shit. Like for whatever reason, like 1, 2 years old, I used to walk in, I used to point right at the sneaker, and that's it. My mother would be like, "Damn, like you let her pick that again." He's like, "Listen, she walked in, she saw it, she pointed to it, boom, that's it." So
Was your
I
dad a sneakerhead, or he was just taking you shopping and was just?
no, it was just like taking me shopping to get like new sneakers and stuff like that. Like my parents are very like old school. So like for them sneakers are like Converse. There's another sneaker that they talk about fairly often, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what the shoe is. I'm gonna actually ask my mom later on. But like stuff like that, or they were used to spending like a certain amount of money on sneakers. Then it's like, granted, sneakers weren't super expensive when I was growing up, but my mom, she was like, I'm not spending 90, $100 on a pair of Jordans. Like that was her thing. She's like, I'm just not doing it. So I wore like a lot of Air Force Ones. I wore New Balance for a little while as well, and I can't remember what style, but like I wore New Balance, I wore Air Force Ones, and then when I got to 7th grade, I think it was 7th grade. My mom, is funny. The Jordan 2 is my favorite shoe, hands down, my favorite shoe.
We have to
And
talk about this. We have to.
oh,
We
Yeah,
have to
like
talk.
yeah.
We gonna get there. We have
I
to
don't
talk.
want to jump the gun, but I rarely hear that sneaker being somebody's favorite. So yeah,
it's
we'll dive into that.
my favorite shoe. My mom is the one that saw the shoe because we didn't keep up with releases and stuff like that because I'm like, she not gonna buy it, so it don't make sense for me to keep up with it anyway. So my mom is the one that saw that shoe, and she was like, we were out shopping, and she was like, yo, before we go home, she was like, I saw somebody wearing these Jordans. She said, I don't know what shoe it is, but I know if I see it, I know exactly what it looked like. She's like, and I think it's the cutest shoe ever. And because I wear a small size, she's like, you have small feet, I know it's gonna look good. So I'm like, what the hell? What Jordans came out? So we, running uptown, we stopping in a bunch of like Foot Lockers, all of this kind of stuff. We ended up going to like, I don't know if it's called like Jeans Plus or like VIM at the time or one of those. And we get in, and I'm looking at the wall, and I'm like, all right, do you see it? Because I don't even know what I'm looking for at this point. And she's scanning. She goes, oh my God, that's it right there. Boom, finds a Jordan 2 on the shelf. So, and this is when you can still walk in the store and
We,
find stuff on
we're
the
gonna
shelves. Like,
we're gonna talk about that too, because Jay probably don't remember those. I remember those days where you could just.
Yo,
What was the? I'm a little bit older, so I definitely remember it. What was the colorway of the Jordan 2?
Chicago too. Like
Okay.
it's my go-to. Like I love that shoe. Like you said we'll talk about it, so we'll really talk about it. But like, I walked in, found the shoe, boom. I was like, listen, I need a size 5, whatever, whatever. God luckily had a pair in the back. When I tell you, I wore them shoes out, rain, um, sleet, hail, whatever was going on, sunny outside, whatever. I wore that shoe everywhere with everything. I didn't give a fuck, excuse me, if the outfit didn't match, none of it. I wore them shoes everywhere. So I feel like 7th grade was when I really started getting into sneakers because then my mom was like, all right, like you're older now, you're gonna start moving into high school. And she's like, I don't want you to feel so like off from what everybody else is wearing. She's like, I know you're going to go to school. I know you're going to have like dress down days and that kind of stuff. You're going to see the stuff. And she's like, I don't want you to feel like, left out in a sense from, not having what everybody else has. So that's when my mom started to like bend a little bit, and we started keeping up with releases a little bit more. And I always did well in school, so that was never really an issue. But when things came out, my mom was like, "Listen, you got to let me know in enough time so I could like put money to the side." So luckily I have friends that worked at Foot Locker, and it's funny as hell. Like I'm in seventh grade, having plugs in Foot Locker and stuff like that. And I'm like, listen, I know such and such is coming out this weekend. Like, can y'all hold me down? I wasn't going out there to stand on no line. My mom wasn't going out there to stand on no line. My father clipped. It didn't even make sense to ask him. So I used to be like, listen, like, can y'all, hold me a size? And they like, yeah, tell us a size. We'll put it in the back for you, whatever. Couple hours after, the release hype died down, me and my mom would go. We would pick the stuff up and head home. But like I said, like I always wore like H&M for the most part, like whatever my mom could find, Old Navy, Gap, stuff out of Macy's, Lord and Taylor, and stuff like that. But I feel like it wasn't until like I started getting a little older, so like sixth, seventh, eighth grade, that's when my mom started to like bend a little bit more. And that's when I started to like really, I guess, like tweak like the stuff that I was wearing fashion wise. I remember specifically, I think it was sixth grade. I had like I've always worn like oversized clothes, but I remember like specifically sixth grade, I was wearing like oversized like Henleys, long sleeve Henleys. Like Gap was calling them like carpenter jeans or something like that at the time, so they were oversized. Little things like that. Air Force Ones, hair was always done and things like that. But legit, it's like those are probably like some of the earliest memories that I had when I really started to like tweak and hone in what I considered like my fashion style or like my fashion sense to be.
That's actually really cool. It actually made me think about the first the first sneaker I actually and remember like that I really wanted going to get. And as I was getting ready for this interview, I had to go looking what it was. It was the 13s, red and white. It was 1997. So Jay, shut up.
You was I think you
Jay,
graduated around that
Jay,
time,
shut
right?
up. So it was like 97, and it was red and white. The red and white 13s, and what I remember about it was that we went. It was a Saturday morning, and my mom and I we went to the store. It was a store called Buster Brown's in Parkchester, and you could literally just walk into the store calmly. I think they were probably like $110, which at then was still a lot of money for a sneaker. But my mom was like, you know what? Your job right now is to be a student. She's like, if you do well in school, and there's a Jordan that comes out and you want it, I got you. And kind of similar, that was my first pair of J's, and I definitely didn't really know how to match them or anything like that. So just it was whatever I had on, I was wearing those 13s. So I definitely can relate to that. So I want to dive deeper into this sneaker culture. So Jay and I both love sneakers, so we're gonna spend a little bit of time here. So so you told us about like your fashion journey growing up. How did you? That was your like I guess your first pair of J's, but how did you really get into sneaker culture? And what is it like as a woman in sneaker culture?
Oh, it's fun. Um, I think when I really got into sneaker culture, so like the twos were like the start of the journey, even though I already wore Air Force Ones. So it's like
And
I
actually,
wore
can we talk about this? You said the twos are your favorite J.
my favorite shoe.
Do you think it's like a nostalgia thing? Like this is the first one I bought, or do you think
It's part of that, but it's like I feel like twos, because twos is what really started shifting a lot of stuff. So it's like a lot of people don't understand the background of twos. It was first like a luxury shoe, the Italian leather, like the little things like that. So I like luxury. I like good leather. So it's like little things like that. But I really do like the shoe. And I feel like if you know how to dress and you know what to do, it really shouldn't be an issue when it comes to wearing a pair of twos. So like that's something that always like pops in my head. But it's like I feel like when people be like, "Oh, I hate twos," da da da, I just go, "You can't dress. You just say that. Like, just say that. Just say that." But I really love the shoe. Like I have like a keychain. Like it fell off. I gotta figure out how the hell I'm about to get it back on. But like legit a keychain with a two
Yeah,
on it.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
so it's really my favorite shoe. Like I said, the luxury materials, like little things like that. And you hear like the backstory, like Jordan was like essentially done. when he saw the two, he was like, "You gotta fucking be kidding me!" Like, essentially. Um, but yeah, like I really do love the shoe.
Yo, it's funny. So I didn't really start tapping into Jordan so after. So I didn't have so in previous episodes I kind of talk about my life upbringing, but it's sure I didn't grow up with my parents, and so a lot of the story of like the same shoe and wearing that all year and trying to keep it clean, that was that was me too. But I didn't really start getting into sneakers, like not just J's, but like sneakers until probably college. I always wanted them. I always saw like, yo,
Of course.
I want to be able to have these things, right? Like, and I wore a uniform for high school, so on dress down days, I couldn't pull out the best sneaker, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So then I knew I was like, all right, when I could get a little job, get a little bit of money, I'm gonna start buying these sneakers that I want. Then and just the stuff that I want, right? And so that started in college, and from there, after that, I went on to grad school, and then I'm working full time, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's game time now. I'm really, doing my thing. Then
Right.
I stopped. I was like, yo, I gotta wear shoes for work all the time, like. And then COVID came, like the pandemic. So I'm home. I'm like, yo, I got right back into sneakers and just started buying all the sneakers I ever wanted. I'm like, all right, I want this sneaker. I want that sneakers. Like, etc. Like for me, one of my favorite J's are the 11s, right? Kind of for a similar reason. You could literally today where we are with sneaker culture and fashion, you can wear a suit with sneakers, and
Yep.
that and ones, right, happen to be two pair of sneakers that you can actually do. You can do
Yeah.
anything with. You feel me? And so I started to wear. Now I just kind of wear whatever the hell I want going to work, to be honest. Like, but um I started to find this love for sneakers again in the last 2 years. And so me and Kev is a big sneakerhead, as he said too. Me and Kev are always, I'll show him, yo, I just caught these sneakers, yo. Now I'm sending him pictures. I'm like, yo, and then sometimes he'll be like, yo, those are dope. They look really nice on you, right? But like for me, that's not my style. You feel me? And I'm kind of similar. I love colors. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just dress, wear whatever I want. I don't ever think about an outfit. I just go buy the sneaker. And
Yep.
then when I'm
Right.
like, all
It
right,
just
yeah, I was like, I know I got something in my house that is gonna make this work. You feel me? So that's kind of like a little bit of my journey with sneakers. But I do think I also teach as a part-time professor, and one of the biggest icebreakers with my students is sneakers. It's always sneakers, right? And I think it literally allows you to talk about, like, from sneakers you can go anywhere, right? So I'm there, and one of my students at the end of the first day of class, she was like, I was really nervous because this is my first time taking a college course. I didn't know what my professor was going to look like, but then I saw your swag when you came in here, and it like made me feel at ease just from the
right.
outfit. You feel me? So just the power
Especially
in,
someone that looks like her
yeah,
or come from an area where she might come from, so it's a little more relatable.
and dresses like her, right?
Hmm.
So she's like, oh, so just the power in what you have on, right? On your feet, and just like the impact it can have.
Yeah, there's a T-shirt I saw. Before I make eye contact, I make sneaker contact. So I get
Absolutely.
it. I get it. So
Absolutely.
I totally derailed you because I don't think I had heard anyone whose favorite J was the two. So I apologize. And we're gonna bring it back to the question. The question was, what is it? How did you originally get into like deeply into sneaker culture, and what is it like as a woman?
So like I said, like the two, like I said, was like my first entry. And then from there, my mom kind of like just fed it until she was no longer able to keep up. And then that's when I took over. But even then, like, even when what was it, college, my mom was still like sending me stuff. Or I'll be like, hey, this is coming out, blah, 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 blah. Can you go get these for me? Or, can you just send me the money and I'll figure out how to make it shake? So like little things like that. So I started building up a collection. Even like throughout high school, like I had a really good collection, really nice collection and stuff like that. And stupidly, I got rid of so many pairs of sneakers after high school. And when I think about it, I kick myself in the ass about it all the time. I don't like to talk about it too much because it's very traumatizing for me. But yeah.
When you
So
say you
like I
gave away a lot, like what does that look like? I know you said it's traumatizing, but I'm gonna ask anyway. About how many pairs are we talking?
a good amount of pairs, like, and it's good stuff that I gave away. So I gave away my twos. I have ragged them out and I gave them away. And I was like, oh, they'll re-release them. And part of it was like because I didn't have anyone that was super close to me that was in sneaker culture to tell me like, yo, hold them, like fix them up, but hold them. Like if you're not gonna wear them, that's fine, just hold them. I didn't have anyone to tell me that. So like those twos, I had a pair of Dub Zeros. I feel like Dub Zeros was like the only Team Jordan that you could wear and seriously get away with. I had red, black, and white. That pair I had. I had a pair of tens. It was a women's exclusive mint green colorway. So white and the detailing was mint green. And then what else did I gave away my Flint 13s.
No,
Um
no. So for the listeners, sorry, I'm a pause real quick. For the listeners, if you're not familiar with some of these J's, what we'll do to accompany this episode, we'll provide pictures. So for some people listening, they might be getting lost right now. We'll provide some visual aid, so you can understand why she's feeling this way.
I'm trying to think. Like when I tell you, there was a few good pairs that I kick myself in the ass about all the time. Those are probably like the first four that come to mind. So it's like if those are the first four that come to mind, I honestly can't even tell you what else was in the collection at that point because
Do you
those are the
still do you still wear the same size? Could you have like still fit them to this day?
yeah.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
that's what really excuse me fucks me up. Like
Got you.
that's what messes me up. Like essentially, I still wear the same size, and it's like my thing at the time. I was like, oh, they'll re-release them, girl. Like so, I feel like even like I said throughout college, my mom was still like buying some of my stuff until I was able to pretty much like take over from there. And same thing, like I started rebuilding my collection a little ways through college and after college. And then like over the last few years, I started really like, gaining a little more traction, adding more things to my collection. And this was because it was moving more from like standing on lines and going in store to being online. Sneakers app and all of that kind of stuff started like really gaining traction. And at the time,
We
I was
can we
like,
pause can we pause at the sneaker app for a question for a minute? Questions for you about the sneaker app. So for those of you who don't know, listening, the sneaker app is a gift and a curse. So it is this beautiful thing that you can have in the palm of your hand, and maybe you will hit and on a Saturday morning get the sneaker of your dreams, but but a lot of times
Or
you're gonna take a L, a huge
not
L.
not just the sneaker of your dreams at a lower price,
Oh yeah,
right?
at the retail price,
Yeah.
not the evil reseller price. We're gonna talk about resellers too. So how do you feel about the sneaker app? Are there any tips that I feel like you're a sneaker insider? I feel like you have information that maybe I don't have in terms of how to win on the sneaker app.
oh, I'm sorry. I just want to double back real quick to answer your question about what it is to be like a woman in sneaker culture. So like being a woman in sneaker culture, I feel like it's like anything for the most part. Sneakers were such a male dominated industry, even though everyone has feet and everyone wears shoes. So that's one of the things that kind of like irked me about it for a while, but also I feel like when you encounter some men, and it's not all, I'm not gonna make that generalization, but you have some that they want to be like the historian and the gatekeeper. And it's like, oh, well, you don't know when Jordan wore these and da da da. I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck. My outfit is going to be cleaner than yours. I don't care. I'm
Facts.
like, if you want to sit there and be the history book, the almanac, that's your business, do your thing. I'm like, but that's not my thing. Yes, I think some stories matter and I'm all for listening to them. But when it comes down to a shoe, I'm not buying it because I'm like, oh my God, the story behind this compelling. It moves me. No, is that shit gonna look good in my collection and how am I gonna style it? That's the only thing that's on my mind. So, like being a woman now in sneaker culture, I feel like we get a lot more respect. There's still like a long ways to go, and I feel like it's even some women at the top that are gatekeeping at this point. Um, but I feel like we still have a long way to go, but I feel like it's definitely better than what it has been. I just wish that we would get a little more respect when it comes to like colorways and stuff like that. I think like women's exclusives are important, but I also think inclusivity overall is very important. So, like for example, the olive nines, I still have nightmares about those. I remember when those released, I was in college. The smallest size at that time that they released was a size 8. I wear a size 5. I wear a size 5. Where am I going? So like when we say like we want inclusivity, we mean that. So like if y'all doing a full family size run, I need all of the shoes to also look the same. I need all of the colors to be the same. I need the swoosh to be in the same spot as the men's shoe. So like when you see the men's shoes on like, sneaker news or like nice kicks and things like that when they're breaking the story about what's dropping, the men's shoe is the standard shoe that they use for that post. The men's shoe always has the better colors. The bubbles are different. The swooshes are where they're supposed to be. The this is this and that and that. So when I look at the women's shoe, is the green is not the same. The swoosh is in a different color. The bubble might be a little different. And then the kid's shoe, forget it. Bubbles non-existent in some shoes or whatever. Swoosh non-existent. Color completely different. You can't even tell it's supposed to be the same shoe sometimes. So like little things like that. Like I said, I feel like we've come a long way, but I also still feel like there's a lot of ways to go. But to answer your question about like being a sneaker insider and like how to win on sneakers, I can't tell you that. Like, and I say that because sneakers, it's like the app is hell for everybody. And it's like they released something last year, like, oh, if you engage with the content that's in the app and like you attend the lives and you read the this and you
I
do
went
the
to
that,
all of them. I read everything, and I still
and
didn't
they
hit.
ain't win nothing. So it's like there's really no telling, and what it comes down to is stock and what do they have in your size? Are you a popular size? Do they have enough of like the general sizing or whatever it is that's gonna work for whatever the drop is? So like little things like that. So it's like I have hell on that app, but I also don't rely on that app as well, which is what I feel like also helps me in a sense. But I'm also blessed and fortunate enough at this point that it's like because of the work that I do and because I'm able to make the connections that I make, I get blessed. So it's like, I might get like a package in the mail, or like, I could hit someone and say, hey, are y'all getting X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. Can you bless me? Can you send me a size? Whatever. And I might be fortunate enough that they'd be like, all right, cool, I got your size. I'm sending it out, as soon as possible. But that app is hell. And I legit tweeted, let me pull this tweet up for y'all. So I tweeted, and the tweet is actually picking up steam, and I really don't know why because it's a very generic, very basic tweet. But I legit said, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I haven't opened sneakers app in a minute and I feel good.
Live from the Bronx. We'll retweet that.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like I have not opened that app in a minute, and also part of it is because the couple of times that I did open the app, no shade, no tea, I love Nike, I love Jordan, there's nothing really in the app that's like worth the hassle at this point. um they have like some stuff that's coming up this month, I think closer to like the middle end of the month, but even then I'm hearing like dates are getting shifted around, and a lot of it is because of supply chain issues, like with COVID stuff. But other than that, there's nothing in the app that I'm really like about to break my neck, break my neck over, or like stress myself out at 10 a.m. on a Saturday and upset myself for the remainder of the day. So like I don't have like any tips in that sense of it, but I will say like stop relying on the apps. There are plenty of websites, and to your raffles, people really sleep on raffles, and I be hitting on raffles. Like when they be like, oh, follow us, like this post, tag two friends, that'd be like the first three options. And the fourth one, they'd be like, share this to your story for an extra entry. I don't give a fuck. I'm sharing it. I don't care who sees it. I'm sharing it.
Yeah.
So like people really neglect raffles like, oh, I don't win or I never win. I'm like, bro, it'd be that one time that you enter that you win. Like my luckiest release last year was the Aleli May Fortune 14. Um, I was scared that I was not gonna get them. Scared. So I ended up buying them off GOAT. When I tell y'all I hit in-store raffles, I another friend, he tried for me. He hit on sneakers app and he also won a raffle. So I'm like, y'all sleeping on raffles, and I'm like, yo, raffles is really where it's at. So when I woke up that morning and I got that email, I kid you not, I was on a bus going back to New York because I had to pick up my stuff. So like, people sleep on raffles, and like even websites. Websites are hard because there's also potential chances for bots to, get through on those websites. But legit, there's so many good releases that I was able to like log on for, put the item in my cart. I see it in my cart. I'm able to check out. I put my shipping, my billing info, and I check out. And a couple days later, I got a package at my door. So, like I said, I wouldn't like rely on sneakers app at this point because we all know how it goes with that app. But I'm also not gonna like shy away from it if it's something that I really want because I have been fortunate enough that my sneakers history it looks pretty decent.
Yo, I hear that, yo. So one thing is funny. So my best friend, he's a sneakerhead too, and he sometimes he always posts like when he wins on the sneaker app. But in short, I think everybody got a plug. Like it looks like just everyone has some sort of connection. He always every new sneaker that release he has, right? And he'll tell me I don't always hit him up or utilize it. I'm about to now, but he's like,
Hmm.
yo, whatever sneakers you have, and he tells me some of the behind the scenes stuff of like how he'll get the sneaker, and I'm like,
Yo, Jay,
oh,
why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? If you're not
yo,
gonna use it, put
yo,
me on.
it just came, yo, it literally just came. You know why? Because I said like it wasn't on top of my mind. Like, I don't know. I don't always like reach out, but like I said, I'm about to because there's some sneakers I need to get. But we'll
Yes,
talk offline about this.
we're about to.
But yo, a lot of this is I just see like to your point, Ashley, is relationships, is like connections. People they just got a plug. You feel me? And the other thing that kind of coming back full circle, we were talking about fashion in the Bronx. We now have like some of these sneaker stores that are coming up that have they're more resale price, but you can actually get your hands on them now, and they're doing a lot of lotteries too. So Fat Joe, for example, just opened up a store in the Bronx, and shout out to Fat Joe, right? I literally just stopped by randomly because I want to support the store, and he'll have some gems in there. Now these are general release, right? But or sometimes he'll have like something that dropped, but there's only one size in like the pair of sneaker. So every now and then I'll go up in there and I'm like, let me see what they got, because is the retail price, and I'll come up on some stuff there, and I'm like, oh, these I didn't even know y'all would have these here. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And it'll be left over from like a release they did or something. And I'm like, oh, like Dunks, whenever the Dunks drop, they always got the lines outside. But if you randomly go in there during the week or something, it might be that one size just sitting on that shelf. And
Hmm.
I've come up on that too a few times. So don't sleep on that too. Every now and then just pop in, like, you know what I'm saying, and see what's going on. But yeah, man, this joint has become crazy. Like the sneaker game, the sneaker culture. How do you spoke about this a little bit, right? But how do you feel about the resellers, right? Like that market, this is blown up over the past few years. Like literally whole sneaker stores are now like resell companies, right? Sneaker stores. How do you feel about that?
I have a love hate with resellers. One, I feel like if there's a way to make money, people are gonna figure it out. Um, it's unfortunate. You need money to do anything, everything. So it's like if people are able to find a way to make money, they're gonna do whatever it is that they have to do to make money. So for me, I don't like resellers because like I said, I have a love hate. So it's like where the hate or the dislike comes in is that like a sneaker that costs pennies to make essentially retail is $100 and now the resale price is $500. Huh? It's not enough shoe. And it's like because I also wear small size, it's definitely not enough shoe for me to pay, $500, $600, $700 or more at times. So it's like that's where the hate portion of it comes in. The love part is that like if it's something I honest to God need in my collection because I know I'm a complete a pack, or like it's gonna drive up the stock of my collection, or I honestly just need it because I really just need it, and I know that they have it. I have to rationalize with myself like how much money am I comfortable spending, um, above retail price that I'm happy that I bought the shoe, but I'm also like, damn, why did I spend that much money? So like that's where like the love portion of it comes in because I know if it's something that I really need and I'm willing to spend the money, I know somebody has it. So like I said, that's like the love hate portion of it. But like I said, people are gonna figure out a way to make money, and it's like sneakers, especially over the last few years, we've always known what sneakers were and what the culture was. but I feel like over the last few years, it's become more like general and like more, I don't want to say like more public, but it's just like more like public or like in the public eye. And then you have people like the family that I honest to God hate, but like the Kardashians and stuff like that, starting to like wear sneakers more, driving hype and little things like that. So that's always gonna play a part in it. But what I also will say is that you did mention something about general release, and that's one thing that I wish people understood more as well. Sneakers that are like hyped, so like your off-white collabs, I love like Supreme collabs and things like that. That's not the only fire that's out here. I could get on Nike or like Foot Locker any day and just scroll to look at the stock that they have on a regular day, or just go in store and I could find fire shit. So it's like if you have the eye for sneakers and you know what's fire, you're gonna be able to find fire anywhere. And I've worn sneakers that like were released on sneakers app, but were kind of like calm in a sense, that I've worn. When I tell you the eyes that I get when I'm out, and people like what are those, like where can I get those, and I'm like, your only option might be resale. I'm like, but I don't think like the resale on these is going to be like a stupid price. Like you could probably be able to get these and it wouldn't cost you nothing but maybe like $3 over retail. And some people, when they resell stuff, if it's not doing well, they drop the price below retail. So it's like you never know, what's going to happen essentially when it comes to like resale and things like that. But like I have a love hate with it. I don't run to support resellers if I really don't have to, but like I said, if it's something that I feel like I honest to God need in my collection, then I really might have to like make the decision.
So we took a while on sneakers because again, everybody on this Zoom right now definitely loves sneakers. But besides sneakers, you also do a bunch of other fashion stuff. You do makeup stuff. So we're currently in Black History Month, right? So depending on when you're listening to this, it's February 2022, Black History Month. Who are some black designers that we should be checking for? Any like black designers that maybe people don't know about that you rock out with?
Oh, my favorites definitely are Visionary Society. They're based out of the Bronx, I think Mount Vernon specifically, but like, Uptown or whatever. But Visionary Society is like my go-to. I wear a lot of their stuff in some of the content that I do. So like I have an IGTV series called The Kickback, which I actually like need to revive at this point. But like I wear a lot of their stuff in those recaps, and like I had a reel go viral and I was wearing like their track pants and stuff like that. So I love like a lot of Visionary Society stuff. Tier, they're based out of Brooklyn, but also young black designers as well. I'm trying to think who else.
Can
Oh,
you repeat that last one?
Tier. So it's Tier. Tier,
Okay.
they're based out of Brooklyn.
So because
Um,
we'll tag them and stuff like that since you give them a shout out.
okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll send you like links and all of that kind of stuff that we
Dope.
can help. Sanye as well is another black designer that I'm really like loving. And then it's like you have like your Daily Paper, your Salehi Bembury, your Joe Fresh Goods, those kinds of people as well. And I'm trying to think, like T Mark is based out of the Bronx as well. He makes like the dope fitteds with like the big patches on the side. I know like he has some things coming in the works as well, which I'm really excited about. Like when I see T Mark, I'm like, yo, big Bronx energy, like always. I'm trying to think who else, like, and it's like I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, because people kind of like take things like that personally, and it's not that I'm trying not to forget, but it's like if I think of anything else, I'll like send y'all links just so that y'all could keep your eyes on them as well. But like I said, Visionary is probably like one of my favorites, especially because they're based out of the Bronx, and T Mark as well.
No doubt, no doubt. This Black History Month, make sure you are shopping black, buying black, and and Ashley just dropped some dope places where you can definitely support.
But also, I don't want people just to buy black because it's Black History Month. Like y'all should be buying black every month, shopping black every
A
month. So
all year round.
outside of just Black History Month. So definitely.
No doubt, no doubt. So during our first conversation, you said that you do not necessarily consider yourself a social media influencer, but you definitely have a pretty big social media following. So why don't you like the term influencer? Or why don't you use it for yourself?
So I think the term influencer has a negative connotation. And I feel like if you really have influence, you don't have to say I'm an influencer. Like I feel like it just comes naturally to you. It is what it is. So it's like I consider myself a content creator, and and even with that, it's like the word content creator now is like I read so many like tweets or like, so many stories that people are like, it's fucked up essentially that we took something that's art and we now label it as content, and it's all because it's in a digital sphere. But it's like if you go to a museum or something like that, you're not calling that content, it's art, you know. So I don't like to use the word influencer because, like I said, I feel like it has a negative connotation, and people are like, well, what do you influence it? And I'm like, girl, look at the pants you're wearing. Like, where else you was gonna hear about them pants from? Like, little things like that. So I don't like to use it because of that. Like I said, I consider myself to be a content creator that has influence. So it's like I create content, and it's like I show y'all what I'm wearing, and it's like I show y'all what I'm doing, or like where I eat at, or like where I like to go hang out at, party at, all of that kind of stuff. And it's like if y'all end up going to that spot after me, I've now influenced a decision in your life. So I've created this story, or like I've created this content, and you've indulged in it or like engaged with it, and now, like I said, you've bought something that you've seen me wear, or like you go get your nails done at the place that I've gone to, like little things like that. So that's influence. So like I said, I prefer like the term content creator essentially overall, and like the with influence would be silent. So
Got you. Ashley Hall, the content creator with influence. We love it. We love it. We love it. So, what is next for Ashley Hall? What you got going on? What are some things? Where can people follow you? That type of stuff.
So what's next for me? Like I said, I need to revive my series, The Kickback. So The Kickback essentially I created last year, and it's pretty much like a monthly recap of all of like the things that have gone on within sneaker culture. So like releases that are coming up. I do like talk about a little like scandalous stuff like here and there. So like when like that big story broke about like the Nike VP whose son was like using her card and stuff, all of that
I
kind of
was
stuff.
disgusted. I was disgusted.
But it's like at the same time, are you surprised? Like,
Not at
little
all.
things like so it's like I kind of like talk about those stories as well, just so that people are aware of what's going on. And it's like I don't talk about them in like a gossipy kind of manner. It's just like, yo, this happened last month. People were talking about it. Like, what do you think about it? That kind of thing. Um, like I said, upcoming releases, past releases, what people were able to get their hands on, things to look out for, stuff like that. So I need to revive that series. Other than that, it's like I'm really just trying to like take my content to like another level. So like there's still going to be like a lot of fashion stuff, a lot of sneaker stuff, but I also need to incorporate like other parts of my life. Like I have pets, which I consider my kids at this point. So it's like, even like content and stuff with them, because people think like having pets is like a walk in a park. It's a job. Like you're essentially, it's like being a parent. You're responsible for keeping something else alive. Like, so like, content with them, or like just, trying to elevate my content.
Are you
um
one of those people who puts like get sneakers for your pets? I've seen people do that. I don't know
no,
if you. Okay, good. All right, good.
absolutely not.
Good.
Absolutely not. It's like I drew the line somewhere. Like my dog, she has like coats and like sweaters to go outside because she's a small dog and she needs it. But other than that, it's like no, like no. But like I said, like trying to elevate content, revive my series. Um, that's what I can say for right now. It's like I'm always working on other stuff. I just, I'm very like shut lip until things start like rolling out or like come to fruition. So
That makes sense. That makes sense. So before we let you go, there is a game that we like to play. We call it rapid fire. And the way the game is going to work, Jay has 5 questions. The funny thing is, I actually haven't even seen the questions yet. So I'm going to be seeing it for the
here
first time with you. So 5 questions. And the way it works is you're going to give us the first word or words that you think of when Jay asks the questions. Do not take too much time to think about it. That's what makes it fun. All right. Rapid fire. Ashley, are you ready?
no, but go ahead.
Well, we're doing it anyway. Jay, are you ready?
I'm ready. You already know.
All right, let's get it.
All right. First question. What is your all-time favorite album?
Ooh, 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
Okay. Who is your favorite visual artist?
Oh, visual artist. Can I say Salehi Bembry? Even though it's like fashion and stuff like that, I feel like the way that he kind of like makes things work or like visualizes things,
All right,
especially
wait,
like
wait,
the
wait, 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 wait. We don't need the whole explanation.
I know, sorry, but I had to get that out. Sorry, like, I had to get that out. But
No, I appreciate that. I mean that with all due respect.
it's fine, it's fine.
Okay. Favorite fashion store to shop at?
Ooh,
Physical location.
H&M.
Favorite Bronx-based restaurant?
The Cuban one on 149th. I can't think of the name.
Zona de Cuba.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
And then, if someone was visiting you in the Bronx for the first time, what is the first place, or where is the first place you would take them to?
First place at Fordham.
Boom, that's rapid fire.
Rapid
You killed
fire.
that.
Good.
Yeah.
I would definitely say you killed that. See?
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah, I
wasn't
feel,
The Salehi one, I feel like I needed to give backstory because I feel like people really start to, like how is that visual art, kind of thing. But it's like the way that his mind works when it comes to clothes is just like, who the hell thinks of that?
yeah, nah,
Sorry.
for sure. No, you good. I felt so bad cutting you off and being rude, but I'm like, yo, this is rapid fire. We got to get through these questions, right?
Yo,
But,
actually, don't let Jay fool you. He cuts people off all the time. It's kind of what he does.
yeah, do not let Kevin influence you. but no, for sure. No, I think that's dope. Where can people learn more about Salehi?
Yeah, Salehi Bembry. So his Instagram for the most part, like like I kid you not, the way that his mind works, like especially like shoes and stuff like that, especially, oh my god, like I don't know if y'all saw like the Crocs that he created. They look like the fingerprints.
Oh, yeah. I saw those. Yeah.
Yes, like him. Like I love like the way his mind works. Like I think he also worked with Yeezy, if I'm not mistaken, like years ago and stuff like that. So his like the way he kind of like just processes things, the way he sees things is just like insane to me. Like the Crocs alone created like a ridiculous frenzy. It was insane. He does like a lot of projects with New Balance. So like the Yurt shoes released like late last year. The Water Be the Guide shoes, which I bought resale because I really couldn't go without. And there was another release, I can't think of the name, but also with New Balance. So he does like a lot of projects with New Balance and stuff like that. But his stuff is just like insane to me. The way like he pictures things, visualizes is wow.
So, Ashley, we're gonna have you throw out your social media and stuff like that in a second. But really quickly, an event that Live from the Bronx and friends is going to be having. We're going to be having a Bronx Summit. So it's perfect that you are here as we talk about it. This is the first time this is ever happening. This is the first time anything like this is ever happening. And the Bronx Summit is going to happen in, I think the date we have, May 13th. More information to follow about location and stuff like that. But we're going to be highlighting fashion. We're going to be highlighting entertainment. We're going to be highlighting finance and technology. And yours truly, Ashley Hall, will be one of the panelists, one of the speakers at the first ever Bronx Summits.
Yeah.
So we are super excited. Jay, anything you want to add on? I know
Nah, you covered it. You covered it. I don't need to ruin your spiel. You killed that.
Cool. So look forward to more information about that. Ashley Hall will be in the building. Jay and myself will be in the building. We have a really dope lineup plans, and it's going to be a really fun, big Bronx event. So Ashley Hall, before we let you go, if you could just throw out your social media for us, please.
Yes, so I'm on essentially everything: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Did I say Twitter? Twitter's my favorite. So Twitter is like no holds barred. So God bless if you stop by. But my social is like the same across all channels. I am Ashley, Ashley, last name Hall, Hall.
And Jay, if you could throw out our social media, please.
Yes, you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Live from the Bronx. You can follow us on Twitter at Live from the BX. And you can send us an email. Let us know who you want to hear on the podcast. Let us know what you're thinking, ask questions, etc. Hit us at info@livefromthebronx.com. And you can check out our website at livefromthebronx.com.
Season 3, we back, y'all. Bow.